Here we go. Okay, perfect. So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for coming here. I am really super excited and thank you so much for joining my masterclass on helping reduce our stress naturally and really supporting our gut health. So today we're going to talk a little bit about not only how stress affects our minds, but also deeply impacts our digestive systems. And this was actually really kind of something like a little part that I was missing. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story in just a second, specifically our gut. So this connection is really super powerful. It says someone else is coming in here. It's really super powerful, and understanding it can really help us use natural tools that will improve our mental and physical well-being. So my goal here is actually to leave you with really actionable steps and insights that you can start using right away. So if you see me looking down, I don't have slides, I have notes. So that's so I keep myself on track. So my name is Kim. I'm a pharmacist. I see we're surrounded by lots of healthcare professionals here, which means that there is like a need for understanding and learning about how is our gut health affecting our stress. I live on a farm here in beautiful British Columbia. I have three young boys. I'm a busy going mom. I've been a pharmacist for almost 18 years. I have a successful online health and wellness business. So I understand the pressures that we as women often put on ourselves and how that affects our overall well-being. So like I said, I'm here to show you what that little missing connection could be that you could be missing by thinking that you're doing like all the things, like you are working on your gut health, but you're not getting that energy and motivation that you thought you maybe would. So that brings me back to a little bit about my story. So I'm someone who's very passionate about alternative medication. And this is something that we've all kind of heard this buzzword, gut health, that I was like, yes, we all need to work on our gut health. We know the science about how, it affects our mood and it affects our energy and motivation. But I was felt like I was doing all the right things. I was doing my pre and probiotics. I was integrating um, fermented foods into my diet, but I still just wasn't seeing that kind of like change in symptoms that I figured that I would. I'm just going to mute a couple here, mute some people here. There we go. And it really was honestly a slap in the face. Probably about a few months ago when I started to realize that the reason I was still having these same symptoms like fatigue and low energy and waking up at weird times. And I started to go back and think about all these times when my hair was falling out and all these symptoms that I had. It was because I was undergoing such terrible stress and I was not regulating my cortisol levels. Now, I know that is such like a hot word right now, cortisol this, cortisol that, but the reality is it affects so much of our body, our hormones, our sleeps. I can't hear you. Oh, I can't hear you. Can you guys hear me? I have,
Yeah.
you can hear me. Okay, Britt just said I can't hear you. Yes, I can. Okay, you can hear me. Okay, I'm not sure. Britt said you couldn't hear me. Okay. Our hormones and our stress, it just affects so many things. So let's start by talking about what actually stress is. So stress is more than just a feeling. It's a biological response. So when you experience stress, and this is an interesting thing. This can be something from something that's positive that's happening in your life or something that's even negative happening in your life. Your body has the same biological response to that stressor. So your body cannot tell the difference between whether you are running from a tiger to fight for your life, whether you are, having like an email from a friend or, someone said something to you that was hurtful that you're not actually in danger. Your body doesn't know the difference. The stress response and the release of that stress hormone cortisol is always the same. Your body does not have a little like, like a little like a dosimeter about like, oh, well, she's not really that stressed. This isn't really that stressful. I'm just going to give her a little bit of cortisol. Or she really is running from a tiger. I need to really jack her up. Your body doesn't know the difference. It actually just keeps releasing that hormone no matter what that stress response is. The problem with this is, and this can actually even be environmental, guys, this is not necessarily things that you're like feeling or your experiences in your life. It can actually be your environment, sounds, things that we're putting on our body, toxins, all of that. Your body still releases it. So what happens is you get into this fight or flight reaction, which prepares us to deal with these challenges. But when this becomes chronic, our bodies start to stay in this heightened state. And this can happen for too long, which starts to take a toll on various systems, sleep, your hair, your energy, and all of this relates to, of course, our digestive system. So what is the connection between stress and your gut health, this gut-brain connection? So there is actually something, a two-way communication. It's through our vagus nerve, where your brain and your digestive system actually communicate. It's actually really fascinating. So when you're stressed, our brain will send signals to our gut, which actually can slow or disrupt your digestion, and then alters the balance of your gut bacteria, that microbiome that we like to call it. So what's even more fascinating is that your gut in turn sends signals back to your brain, which then helps affect your mood and stress levels. So this is actually like kind of like a feedback loop that that the two communicate with. And then we're stuck in our cycle. This can actually start causing that disruption of your gut health, your disruption of your mood. So kind of understanding how that works is the first step toward making positive changes. So what are the effects of stress on your digestion and that microbiome, that gut, kind of like what we call it like dysbiosis. I'll explain that in a second. So when you're stressed, chronic stress can actually slow down or speed up our digestion. And this depends for like different individuals. Sometimes people will get constipation. Some people might get diarrhea. Some people may get bloating, which we hear so much of. I have had so many women tell me, I have done so much. I'm drinking all the water. I'm doing the pre and probiotics. Am I in perimenopause? And I'm like, you very well could be, but let's talk a little bit about what's happening in your life. And often what comes up is they have like a high level of stress. And this is not from necessarily like I said, all this stuff happening. They're just too busy. They're juggling all the kids' activities. They're working a full-time career. They're, looking after the household. They're cooking dinner. Like they're just constantly going. And that also is causing that stress response. Stress will also impact this gut microbiome that I'm saying, which then causes that disruption. And as I just discussed before, when you have that disruption, it's sending different signals to your brain. So this balance and good and bacteria is thrown off. This leads to inflammation in your gut, which people will start to experience. Digestive discomfort like the bloating, and even more susceptible to infections. This also sends these stress signals back to your brain, so which worsens your gut health and your emotional well-being, because now what's happening is we're learning more and more about how your neurotransmitters, your happy hormones, serotonin and dopamine are formed in your gut. And if you're having this stress, which is affecting your gut, those signals are then going back to your brain, and you're having this like change in your mood, and or they are just not being produced. So what are some symptoms? If anyone has any questions too, just like pop them in here. So what are some symptoms of you have stress-related gut issues? So we talked a little about how they can be bloating, which is like me is like criminal number one for most people, abdominal pain, and changes in bowel habits. So that can be constipation or diarrhea. And we know that IBS symptoms have a direct correlation to anxiousness and anxiety and stress, which, stress causes both of those. If you look at some of the popular name brand probiotics, but I'm going to talk about some like in the drugstore. Actually, Align is now incorporating ashwagandha into their probiotic to help with IBS system. It's called with stress relief, which is amazing because now they're starting to become more mainstream, that your stress and your gut are directly connected. So I was like super happy to see that. I took a picture of it that I'm going to post. Okay. So stress impacts other symptoms in surprising ways. So things like your digestive system, things like the fatigue, which I was experiencing, brain fog, and even poor sleep are linked to this imbalanced gut. This is because the gut will directly influence how we produce and process neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which affect our mood, energy, and sleep. So the result of all of this is that you get a real overlap of emotional and physical symptoms from stress and gut health, from stress affecting your gut health. So is there any questions on that from anyone? I know we lost Britt. Nope. Okay. So now let's talk a little bit about some natural strategies that you can do to reduce stress and improve your gut health. And I like to say this focuses on three main areas. One is kind of like techniques. I'm going to explain that in a second. Lifestyle changes, and then of course, targeted supplementation, actual supplementation that is meant to help reduce your stress and therefore improve your gut health. So first of all, techniques. So I'm a person that, like I said, if you are undergoing a large amount of stress like I was, some of these are going to seem a little woo-woo to you just because you are not used to slowing down. And slowing down is actually the name of the game. So these ones are meant to help reduce your stress and support your gut-brain connection. So simple practices like mindful breathing. That would mean just like sitting in a quiet area somewhere, just really focusing on your breath, inhales through your mouth, inhales through your nose, exhales through your mouth, and just doing 5 to 7 of those. That also creates a better exchange of oxygen in your lungs as well and your body. So that kind of gets that going. Meditation. This is one that is really challenging for myself. And I find if you are someone who is starting like as a beginner in meditating, please, for the love of God, do not go and find some 20-minute meditation and think you're going to rock it out because it's not going to happen. I suggest a very short 2 to 3 minute meditation just to kind of help get your mind used to being still, because chances are if you're going to do something that's even like 10 minutes, by like 3 minutes, you're going to say, I got shit to do, and you're going to get up and you're going to start walking away because you need to learn how to slow down. Remember, these are practices. We're working on practicing on reducing our stress and managing it. We're not trying to like go all in at once. We're trying to just like keep a little woosah here. And I know for a lot of like high achieving women, this is really difficult to do. Things like taking a walk outside. I cannot stress enough about how an afternoon walk on your lunch break is so important for helping reduce your stress. That's helping reduce your cortisol, regulating your circadian rhythm. So you are actually going to start sleeping better and energizing you. So I myself, I have 30 minutes for my lunch break. It takes maybe like 12 minutes for me to eat. And I've traded my steps for scrolling. So instead of scrolling, I get up. I actually sometimes do like my walk and talking thing, but I get out and I walk around. I have like a lap that I kind of do. And that is like so great. And especially the sunshine is awesome. Help promote relaxation. Those all help promote relaxation. Yoga is awesome. And then any combinations of kind of like movement and breathing is really some fantastic, which is going to support reducing your stress and therefore your digestion. So lifestyle changes. So one of the ones that I think I do not focus on enough that I'm going to be bringing a little bit more into the light is fiber. I feel like it's kind of like protein's ugly stepsister, because who wants to talk about fiber? Like they're kind of just like sitting in the corner being, kind of like, whatever, but they're so important. We don't actually talk about it enough. Eating protein, protein is good too, but eating fiber is so important and key for gut health. The reason is that fiber feeds the good bacteria in your gut. I kind of like to think of it as like a little bit like kind of like fertilizer. And then these bacteria produce beneficial compounds that will help reduce your inflammation and support your gut lining integrity. Also, protein does that too, guys. Sleep, which is another one. So number 2 is sleep, very critical, and it's 7 to 9 hours. So I want you to like raise your hand if you can think of the last time that you got 7 to 9 hours of sleep, or even made that a priority for yourself, because I think a lot of us don't. We are like going until like the last minute we're like, oh crap, I finally have to go to sleep. So sleep so important, 7 to 9 hours, and having a regular sleep schedule, super important. So going to bed around the same time and then waking up around a similar time, that will help regulate your cortisol levels. And I'm actually going to do one on sleep and cortisol because it's actually really fascinating. Creating a consistent routine around meals, exercise, and then sleep will help help lower your stress. One thing I was going to say too, just about sleep and gut motility, is that if you're waking up, and this is one thing that I noticed, I was waking up at weird times at the night, usually around that 3 to 4, and then I was waking up and I wasn't feeling hungry. And Gals, that is not like a sign that you're like, oh, I guess I could skip breakfast and try and lose some weight. What's going to happen is you're actually going to hold on to weight. And that is actually a sign that you have high cortisol levels and your gut is not moving. The next thing that's going to probably move in is constipation. So, having feelings of not feeling hungry in the morning is a sign of cortisol high stress as well. Just wanted to add that. So now let's chat a little bit about some targeted supplements. My main ones, of course, is when I say targeted, I mean ones that are actually going to do the job that you need to. So if someone comes to me as a pharmacist and says, I'm looking for something for like overall health and well-being, I don't have any main concerns. I'm like, okay, well, maybe we could try like a multivitamin, something like that. If someone comes to me and they're talking about like I'm having like real issues with my gut health and stress, I'm going to start recommending more specific targeted supplements that are actually going to help them with that issue. Okay. So this is what I talk about, that like actually getting to the root of the cause and having those supplementation to support it. So the first one is, of course, pre and probiotics. So this is a really powerful pair. So prebiotics are types of fiber that feed the beneficial bacteria in our gut. So we actually find them in foods as well, things like garlic, onions, and bananas. Probiotics are actually live bacteria, which we can find in supplements, and then of course fermented foods as well. And having fermented foods and like having food is also something, like food first is something that I also really encourage. Those are in things like yogurt, sauerkraut, and kefir. You can take a supplement, of course, which helps really support your gut, especially during these stressful times. And you look for strains, things like lactobacillus, bifidobacterium longum actually has clinical data to show that it does actually help reduce stress and anxiousness. I don't know of the particular number, but there's one. And these have been shown to improve gut health and lower stress levels. Adaptogens. So these are like, I actually love these so much. So adaptogenic herbs are really awesome for supporting your body's stress response. The main one that I love to recommend is ashwagandha, which is actually has scientific data to support that it helps lower cortisol. So if you've been seeing ashwagandha kind of floating around as well too, it's because it actually works. Okay. And it also helps calm your nervous system by regulating your GABA, which I like to call as kind of like the brakes of the brain. It doesn't make you drowsy. It just kind of brings your body into that grounding kind of like steady state. Rhodiola is another one, which helps supports your stress resilience. And that is actually the name of the game. What we're doing in helping reducing and lowering it is we're actually helping your body adapt to that stress response better, calling it stress resilience. And that is actually also shown to help improve energy and focus. And these have been around for centuries of use and for traditional use. And they have scientific data to support them. The one, too, that I also really love is ginseng. Ginseng and then guanera. Those are also two adaptogens, which also help with focus and energy as well. Magnesium. So magnesium, specifically like the glycinate or bisglycinate formula, this is a mineral, really excellent for calming your nervous system. You can help it for relaxation and sleep, which are really both critical, like I just kind of chatted about a few minutes ago, for managing your stress. They're very easily digestible, like easily absorbed forms, and really gentle on your digestion. So this helps with muscle relaxation and digestion, and supports that really that gut motility to kind of keep things moving along as they should. So which are the ones, of course, that I love the most? For me, I like to call this kind of like my little stress relief pack here before I wrap things up. So of course, I love to use and recommend this Green Synergy Elixir. So this is one that is made from Arbonne. And I love this just because it has everything that you need. It exactly just what I talked about. Our pre and probiotics. It has collagen builder in it, which actually helps promote that gut lining. Also gives you healthy skin and nails. Who doesn't love that? Plus, it has digestive enzymes in it, and I think it's 11, I believe, and the pre and probiotics, plus 12 greens, which help for your nourishment and also for your fiber content. I love to pair this with our Energy Fizz, and I've been recommending this more to women as this is an essential part of your supplement routine. A lot of people they're like, oh, I'm just gonna like pop one of these when I need the energy. You need to stop chasing the energy and you need to stop just having it on board regularly by getting to the root of the cause. This has the B vitamins in it, which are going to help decrease your stress. There are B vitamins, specifically B12 is a wonderful vitamin to help support stress and that stress resilience. Plus ginseng, guanera, and taurine are also like the adaptogens that I just chatted about are also in there to help you with your focus. So I recommend taking one of these in the morning with your Energy Fizz as kind of like your part of your morning routine. I also recommend our Inner Calm with ashwagandha and L-theanine. So this is one that I will tell people, my clients, if you are undergoing like a particularly stressful time in your life, like say I was like in August, I recommend that you actually take this twice a day just to kind of help your body get through that stress resilience and build up that stress resilience. So one of these, you would take a scoop in the morning. I've been doing this for the past couple of weeks because it's flu shot season. And then of course, one again at nighttime, about an hour before bed. And I like to drink mine in a tea, or we have a wonderful pink lemonade flavor that you can actually just mix with cold water and drink. So with all of these supplements, of course, I tell my clients, you have probably been in this stress response for years. And for me, like myself, I didn't realize that I was actually in this. And I had probably been on and off in this stress response for a good part of my life. So you need to be patient with the process. You need to take small little steps, which will create big changes to help with that. And that can be accomplished by your lifestyle changes, some techniques like slowing down, doing your meditation, doing your yoga, and then, of course, targeted supplementation. Oops, I forgot this one too. My magnesium glycinate, this is actually a liquid form that I take. And I just want to point out that when I do not have the supplements that I would love to take through Arbonne, I always make sure I choose a high quality, high value product that is going to give you results. So this is actually sold at a naturopathics doctor's office. And I love this one. It tastes great. And I take 500 milligrams of this at night. And I call this kind of like my stress relief pack. B vitamins, pre and probiotics and greens, intercom, ashwagandha, lowering your stress response, and then, oops, my magnesium glycinate. So, okay, so in summary here, we've kind of covered how that affects the gut and our overall health, the overlap of both physical and emotional symptoms, and some powerful strategies you can to reduce stress and support gut health. So like I said, taking small, consistent steps with techniques, lifestyle adjustments, and supplementation can really make a difference. And remember, it's just not about doing everything perfectly, but really finding a balance and slowing down and finding something that's going to work for you. So that's all that I have for you guys this evening. I am actually going to stop recording.